Okay. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Where?
You were talking about Peggy Vick Mark, and you were going to talk about some other people. Who was the general manager there?
Who did what?
Who was your general manager?
Bill Fink.
Oh, I remember
William
him.
Fink. And we brought, the accountant was actually from the Newton, Kansas plant where they were building for this retailer, which made it good because she knew them all. But we had no sales department because the two guys that actually owned all these sales lots, they were millionaires. They were some real nice guys. And I hit it off real well with the one of them that actually did the going around and seeing what each plant needed. He would get with the managers at his plant, at his lots, and of course they had a good feel on what was selling in the area, and they would figure out which model they wanted to order, and then he would bring the list back to me of what they wanted to order for the month. And then him and I would sit down and go over them, and he would tell me what he needed, and I would look and see which was the best way to fit him into our line that we could still produce, which is easy to produce. If he needed a model more, but it still made it harder for me, well, I would relent on that, and he would give in on something else. So we kind of made it a give and take deal, and worked out real good. They send us, all plants, of course, their management structure involved a sales manager. So they send us a sales manager, and the thing about it is a sales manager got a car. So they sent us a sales manager from Newton, Kansas, who was assistant down there. And the idea was that he knew the lots. He knew the managers at the lots. But he was only up there for about, I think we had him for about 3 months. And the guy, the one part owner of the business, went in with Pegenkoff, who was, the division manager. And he said, "We don't want your sales manager." And they said, "What?" And he said, "We got along so well when LeRoy, we was working with him. We got along so well that we don't want to change it."
Mm-hmm.
And they said, "Well, we've always had a sales manager." And they said, "Well, we don't see where you need one." They said, "We're doing, we do the same thing as he does. I mean, we've got his job covered, or that job covered, and it works real well." So they shipped him back to Kansas, and I got his car, and
Mm-hmm. That's funny. I remember you having a company car.
Yeah, I was one of the only production managers that did have a company car.
I think that's one of the first cars I ever rode in that had cruise control in it. Because
Really?
I remember we took a trip.
Oh, you're thinking, I had a Ford,
Mm-hmm.
and they sent, the general manager they sent him up a big 98 Oldsmobile.
Mm-hmm.
And what you're thinking about is we took that Oldsmobile back to Nebraska on a trip home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We were going back there, and they wanted to put a lot in Scotts Bluff, a sales lot.
Mm-hmm.
The retailer did, and they wanted to know how many. We needed to know how many miles it was to figure the freight. So what they did is they put some kind of a deal on the back wheel that recorded the weight.
Mm-hmm.
I mean the miles. And they said, "You take it back on your vacation.
Mm-hmm.
That way we'll get the miles at the same time."
Mm-hmm. Cool.
So, yeah, that's the one you remember.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a real. That was a good job up there. The only problem it had is when it got cold in the winter, it got cold.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember we went to get a Christmas tree. I think you You and Mom only got out part way and had to go back. It was so cold.
Mm-hmm. Well, I remember too when they would cancel school for a blizzard. I'd be walking home and you'd be driving in the blizzard looking for us, and you passed me and you're like, "Keep going, you're almost there. Where are the boys?" I'm like, "I don't know." And you went looking for the boys.
Yeah, and then Roy Pegenkoff, actually, he built a bigger factory in Longmont, Colorado than the company wanted him to build. But the thing about it is, what the company did is they had cut it down to where it'd be almost non-functionable because it was too small.
Really?
You'd have people working on top of each other. So he didn't build it that small. He built it regular size, and they canned him. They fired him for it.
Pegenkoff?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Roy Pegenkoff. So he went with a company called Concemco,
Mm-hmm.
and he got talking to me, and he flew me and Don Koisnan out here to look at the factory down at Mountain Home. They first were trying to talk me into going to Pocatello, Idaho, and Jerry McDaniels, the guy that I worked with all the time up there, called me and told me, "Don't go to Pocatello." He said, "Boy, that's a tough factory." He says, "Long." He's an old, some kind of an old mill of some kind. He said, "You don't want to go there." So I told Pegenkoff I didn't want to go there. So he says, "Well, we've got another one that's a brand new one at Mountain Home, Idaho." He said, "Oh, you'll love it." He said, "You can shoot deer right out your back door." So we come out and we found out Mountain Home actually wasn't right in next to the mountains like we thought.
Mm-hmm.
It was about 20 miles from the mountains.
Right.
So, and hot in the summer, and
And desert.
wind. So we came out and we looked at the one in Mountain Home, and he finally, after talking to Don Koisnan, he decided they could use Don in in Boise here as a warranty manager. So between the two of us, I took the production manager in Mountain Home, and he took the warranty manager in Boise. And the guys came out from Newton, Kansas, and along with the new division manager, which was a guy called Jack Wilfong. They came out, and they was thinking I was going to stay. They didn't know I'd come and looked at another job. And finally, when I told them I was thinking about leaving, then they wanted to give me an opportunity to go to Louisville, Kentucky, for a general manager. Go, down to train or learn the whole job, and I'd already made a commitment to Pegenkoff. Was a bad thing. So my options were pretty well. If you wanted to be honest, be a decent, upright guy, I felt I had to follow what I'd committed.
Mm-hmm.
So although they made it very tempting to go to Louisville, but I decided it's not what I had committed to, so we came to Idaho. Besides it, I'd been out to Boise when I'd taken that road job. I'd come out through, I'd been in Arizona. I was all over.
With
Washington.
Magnolia, when you were doing the road job and learning plumbing and all that?
Yeah.
You went a lot further than I thought then.
Oh, yeah. I was in New Mexico. I was in Arizona. I was in Oregon. I was in Washington. I went clear up to the naval base in Washington, the top of Washington,
Mm-hmm.
all along down into Boise here, and
Wow.
spent a lot of time in Montana.
All from Nebraska, based
Yep.
out of Nebraska.
All from Magnolia.
That's crazy.
Went to Kansas, Colorado. Oh yeah, got around. Saw a lot of country.
Hmm.
They even sent I and Roy out one time.
Uncle Roy?
Yeah.
For snow?
Yeah. We were out for about 2-3 weeks. Yeah, we hit a lot of places in Wyoming,
Mm-hmm.
North Dakota. Went a
Mm-hmm.
few times into North Dakota. Minot,
Mm-hmm.
cold up there. Yeah. Most of the work though ended up being in Montana. Montana was selling a lot of houses at that time. Plus Magnolia, out of Scottsbluff, we would practically shut the factory down as far as building customer houses during the wintertime. And we built specialty units for a company over in Denver. And we built schoolhouses, we built a church, we built banks, we built even a dog kennel, a laundry thing, all kinds of these specialties, high profit units.
Mm-hmm.
And those were mostly Doug Hawkins' ideas. You know, he was always, he'd figure out where the money was.
Right.
So
Right.
you
Well,
made a lot
let's-
more money on the commercial stuff than you did on
The homes.
And if you look around into Montana, you see these big double wide schoolhouses.
Mm-hmm.
They came out of Nebraska.
Oh, wow.
I'll bet you 90% of the big double wide schoolhouses in Montana came out of Nebraska.
Hmm.
And then if you go around to these construction sites, and it don't make much difference what state you're in, you'll see these little 8 wide yellow and white construction trailers. Those we used to build them almost 100 at a run.
Hmm.
We would build so many of them that the people would get tired of building them. We'd have to put something else in to break the monotony.
Mm-hmm.
But we built so many of them. The church was funny. People,
You built a church, like out of you built a church trailer house?
we built the church with the cross and everything.
Really? Oh, good no.
We tell the people, oh, don't cuss in there. If you got to cuss, get outside. Run out the door. Yeah, we built a big double wide church.
Hmm.
Yeah, we built a lot of different things. The dog kennel was hard because of the screening and stuff, like, you know, the cages and
Mm-hmm.
that was a problem with some of them commercial units. They didn't give you a good flow on a production line, like the take for instance the laundry trailer
Mm-hmm.
had a lot of plumbing.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of, you'd have to move guys from one department into the plumbing department because there was a lot of plumbing went into it
Mm-hmm.
because of all the washers and
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Hmm.
But it was fun. I mean, it was different. We built a lot of units there for a while for the Air Force.
When you were in Idaho? Or
Out-
out in Nebraska?
Out in Nebraska.
Oh, really?
Matter of fact, we built what was called a link trainer, and it was had a triple floor in it, and what it was, it had a simulated cockpit of an airplane in it. It was a trainer.
Oh.
That's why they called it a link trainer.
I see. I see.
And we had to paint it on the outside with a big star on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When you built like that for the Air Force, where you had had inspectors there, every move you made, you had an inspector there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was kind of the same way with Montana, with the state, because the state was, schools.
Mm-hmm.
And we build I don't know how many Job Corps centers where we just put trailer after trailer together to make like gymnasiums and stuff like that. Some just had an end on them and no middle, and we built for the Wyoming fair. We built entertainment, where the thing would open up and the people would be playing there. And
Right.
Yeah. Build everything. I mean, if they wanted it, we built
Oh, you
it.
built it, huh?
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Figure out a way to get it built. But they made a lot of money on them.
Yeah.
The company over in Denver was called Elder Trailer and Body. Never forget it. Hardly ever saw them. They would just.
So Magnolia was working for them.
Yeah.
To get these kinds of custom jobs out. Interesting.
I think we was the only one building for them in the winter times. I mean, for all them specialty things, and I don't know how they ever got away from them. I think they were still building for them when I left. But we had a big skinny Ichabod Crane looking guy that was our engineer there. His name was Jim Booth. His dad was Billy Booth, and they had a big mechanic shop there in Scotts Bluff. Matter of fact, I had the engine go out in my little station wagon, and I had to take it in there, and they fixed it. They was real good at fixing stuff, but when you took stuff in there, they didn't ever wash too much, and you'd get in there, grease all over everything,
goodness.
clean everything up. But they really do a good job.
Well, let's take a break. And we'll come back and we'll do Idaho. Okay?
Idaho?
Yeah, we'll do Idaho next segment.